Hi everyone, today we'll be talking about how to cook for a family who is a vegetarian and a member that is also a meat eater. So you want to be cooking for both, but you got to make sure that you isolate the two type of food. One, as you can see, is meat, as on the left side with chicken. The other one is just vegetarian with rice. So make sure you be able to satisfy both member of the family, and yeah, everybody can eat in harmony. Let's get started. Alright, in order to satisfy both members of the family who is a vegetarian or who is a meat eater, you need to be able to cook both dishes. What I would suggest you do is cook the meat first and then cook the vegetable, because the meat eater can actually eat the vegetable, but the vegetarian cannot eat the meat. So what I'll do first, as you can see on the left side of the dish, you can see there's chicken drumstick there that's already steamed and cooked, and they also have vegetable dishes with rice, and on the right side is filled with vegetable like mushroom, bok choy Chinese vegetables, and Chinese eggplant, and then of course with rice. So what you want to do is, when you're preparing for the meat and you're steaming it, you can then start cooking the vegetables, and that will save you some time. Let me show you right now. First thing I would do is prepare the meat first. Usually what I would do is, when we prepare meat, we buy like chicken drumstick in bulk. Usually we go to Costco, buy in 20-30 drumstick, and then we'll wrap it in a group of five chicken drumstick, and we'll freeze it. And then the day before we going to cook it, we would then thaw it in the fridge. As you can see, it's wrapped in plastic, and then once it's thawed for 12 to 24 hours in the fridge, we then unwrap it and then just wash it with water. Just clean out if there's some contamination, clean that out, and then we then add a bit of salt, and then put it on a metal plate, and then using, as you can see, there's a pot of water there. We're gonna steam that. Okay, so I'm gonna steam the chicken, but first what I'll do is I'll make sure that we turn on the water pot, and I'll put the chicken drumstick onto the dishes, and as you can see, I'm doing that right now on a metal plate, and that metal plate will then go into the water pot. Okay, notice I add a bit of salt there to add some flavor, and then I might even add some teriyaki sauce. I usually do add teriyaki sauce and get it ready to go. So that, just add a little bit more. I put less than a teaspoon of salt, and then I'll add teriyaki sauce, as you can see right now. Okay, there's the teriyaki sauce. I'll just pour about two tablespoons. It's just approximate, right? Just sprinkle on top of the chicken drumstick, and then I'll roll it over, and just make sure that all the sauce is around the chicken drumstick. There we go, as you can see. So this is gonna be preparing for the chicken drumstick, and that's for the meat eater. I'll do that right now. Steam it first. It'll take at least 40 minutes to steam the chicken, so that's why it takes a while. While it's steaming, you can then prepare for the vegetable dish. So let's do that right now. Okay, as you can see, we have mushroom, Chinese eggplant there. That's purple Chinese eggplant. And then I'm also going to be cutting up onion as well, and I think also I'm going to be using bok choy vegetable. So those are three things I'm going to be using. So there we go. This is called yu choy or bok choy, and I'll have it set up with the cutting board. There it is, the wooden cutting board. I'm going to chop up these vegetables, and we'll start cooking. Right there we go. I have the plate ready, glass plate. And I think I'm actually getting the onion. I'm going to chop up the onion. So that's the main ingredients. The onion is so important. You either use onion and garlic, or sometimes even both, but onion add flavor to the food, and the smell of that onion when you fry it with oil, it's pretty cool, pretty amazing. I mean, like, it tastes and smells really good. So onion is one of those flavoring item that you need to add to your food. Salt, onion, any type of spice or sauce. Okay, that's the key ingredient to make the food taste good. So you can see I'm chopping it. Wash first the onion, peel off the skin, and then chop into small pieces. Okay, as you can see, I'm going to chop the onion to tiny pieces so that I can then fry it. It's going to add flavor to the food. I usually use about 1 onion for 2 dishes of vegetables. So you want to be able to cut enough onion to cook for 2 dishes, and that's what I'm doing right now. Sometimes I'll add some of the onion into the chicken drumstick as well to add some flavor, but usually not necessary because you have the sauce already. Okay, the next thing I want to do is basically cook mushrooms. So I'm going to wash this mushroom first. Okay, we're going to have to wash it first, and then we're going to cut it into halves and quarters. Okay, so now I had washed the mushroom. I'm going to cut it into quarters, depending on the size of the mushroom I want, but yeah, usually one mushroom can be cut, a big size anyway, can be cut into quarters or halves. Make sure you clean it well. And there we go, we have a mushroom as one of the vegetable dishes. And notice that the chicken drumstick is being steamed. Again, it's going to take 40 minutes. So while you do cutting the vegetable, get everything prepared, and even right now, after doing the vegetable, I should also be preparing the rice as well. So the next thing is to do is to wash the Chinese eggplant, and then what we'll do is chop it up. Depending on the size you want, I usually cut it longitudinally, and then I'll cut into the size of the pieces that I want for cooking. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now, just cutting off the edges, and then cut into halves, and then in the middle halves as well. So having it, there we go, halves, and then in the middle halves, and then I will cut further, right? There we go. That's usually how I cut my eggplant, my Chinese eggplant. It's a good size. Now with the Chinese eggplant, you might have to cook it longer than other type of vegetables, because if you don't cook it long enough, it's a little bit like hard, right? So you want to soften it, so require more heat and time to cook this Chinese eggplant properly. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to wash out the yu choy, or you can use bok choy, doesn't matter, it's a Chinese vegetable. I'm going to wash that thoroughly with water, and then now you don't have to chop up this vegetables, but you need to maybe break it apart. So make it one leaf, maybe even if it's a big leaf, then you might split into 2, right? So usually that's what you want to do for yu choy or bok choy. Okay, now I washed the yu choy. You can see now I just split it, the vegetable, into one piece at a time, one piece of the leaf, and ready to go. So now I have my onion, I have my mushrooms, I have my eggplant, and then I have the yu choy. It's all ready to go. Okay, so the next thing is to have the sauce ready, the teriyaki sauce. That's the one I'm using. Salt, and of course I'm using oil. In this case, I believe it's olive oil. Yeah, I'm using olive oil for this one. Okay, so ready to go. So now we want to cook our rice. I add 2 cups of rice, and to the rice cooker we're gonna add water to it, and we're ready to go. Now with rice, make sure you clean it really well. You can see the white cloudy water. You make sure you wash the rice 3 or 4 times, then you can cook it. Okay, so make sure you clean out the rice properly, because otherwise those see that this kind of white water, you got to get rid of that, because it will make the rice really sticky. If you want to make the rice very loose and individual rice grain when you eat it, then you need to get rid of that white powder soak that's dissolved in water. Okay, you have to get rid of that. Okay, as you can see, you can now see the water. It's translucent or transparent. It's pretty clear. And now you're ready to cook. And the water is, I usually use, if you use 2 cups, then you want to have the water about 1 centimeter from the top. So here is our rice cooker. We're ready to start it. The rice takes about 20 minutes actually to cook. Okay, so again, you have that set up while you're frying your vegetables. Okay, so you're ready to cook. You're gonna pour the oil in the frying pan and make sure you turn on the heat. Usually I set it to high at the beginning, and once the oil is pretty much sizzling with the onion, then you turn it down to medium or medium high. Okay, so we'll just let the oil heat up a bit and add some onion in there. Okay, so we're ready to add the onion. There we go. So you can see the oil is sizzling with onion, and usually here I'll add a bit of salt as well. I'll stir it around, make sure all the oil gets into the onion, and I add a bit of salt, and I'll let it fry until it's slightly light brown on the edges, and I'm ready to add my vegetables. Okay, so we're ready to add the mushroom now. Okay, so notice I split the fried onion in 2 dishes. So I have half in the frying pan because I'm going to be cooking the mushrooms. There we go. And then again, I just add a bit of salt in this mushroom. I'll let us stir it around to make sure the oil and the onion gets in there, and then I'll let it cook for about 5 minutes. Okay, see I added a bit of salt there, and then we'll just stir fry it for 3-4 maybe 5 minutes. Notice that if it's dry, we add a bit of water there. Okay, so if you notice it's a bit dried, add a bit of water, and that will allow the cooking procedure to cook evenly across the mushroom. Okay, as you can see, it looks pretty good, right? Now usually what I'll do is I'll add in, it could be the eggplant, or it could be bok choy. In this case, I'm going to add the bok choy or the yu choy. Okay, and then again, sprinkle a little of salt in there, and we're going to stir it around after the salt. Okay, so I'm going to stir it around, making sure I cook the yu choy properly as well. Let's make sure bring up the mushroom and the onion, fried onion in there, and then we're going to cover it. Okay, once you stir enough, now you're ready to cover it. Let it cook for about 3-4 minutes, and then stir it again. Right, so make sure that you cook the vegetable well, that it's tender and not too soft, but not too hard, just right. It's depending on your taste preference. Usually I cook it for about 3-4 minutes, and I will test it out, making sure that it's not too hard. Okay, so have a look at the chicken right now. It's been around 10-15 minutes, so it's still cooking. So we'll let it steam for another 20 minutes. Okay, as you can see, it looks pretty good now. Wow, there's the mushroom, there's the yu choy, and looks like it's ready. So I'll just stir it around, make sure I got all the flavor in there with the mushroom and the onion. And there's 1 dish is ready to go. Okay, so now we're just gonna pour into the dish. Gonna make sure we don't spill over anything. And we're ready to move on to the next dish after this one. Okay, so we're ready for the next dish. I just put in the second batch of the fried onion in there. The next dish, of course, is the eggplant that I cut up. There we go. This is a Chinese eggplant. Now this one, you need to cook longer. You add some water in there as well. And salt, I just put salt and then add a bit of water. And let it steam for, I would say at least 10 minutes, okay? Because this dish is actually, tastes really good when it's soft, not when it's hard. That's the difference between cooking, yu choy or mushroom. It can't be cooked too long, where this one, it's better if it's overcooked than undercooked, because usually, well, for my family anyway, we like it more soft. and like I guess you could say slimy kind of thing. It's tastes better. Okay, as you can see, it's still not ready yet, but we're gonna have to in this case I'm actually gonna add teriyaki sauce. So teriyaki sauce added to the Chinese eggplant will taste really good. Right, there we go. And again, we're gonna cook it for at least another 5 minutes. Make it really tender. Okay, I think we're ready. I would suggest that you cook longer than this. I can still see some white surface on the eggplant, so maybe you want to cook longer than what I'm doing right now. But in this case, I think it's all right. But I would probably prefer cooking it longer, so that it would be a little bit more mushy. But I think my family's okay with this. So there we go. We have now the second vegetable dish ready to go. Okay, there it is. Looks pretty good. This is a Chinese eggplant with teriyaki sauce. Very good for a family of 4. Okay, so here's my dish, the 2 vegetable dish, the yu choy with mushroom, and then the eggplant. So those 2 vegetable dish is ready to go. I'm still waiting on there we go, there's the chicken steaming up. I think I added teriyaki sauce on that one too, but there we go. And remember, you have to steam for at least 40 minutes, okay? And then it's ready to go. Okay, let's check on the rice. I think the rice is ready, and let's open it up. There we go. Looks pretty good. Everything is ready in 45 minutes, including preparation. So there it is, the final product. We have the vegetable and the meat eater dishes. There's the rice, there's the vegetables with the meat, right? So 2 vegetable dishes, and then the other side is the vegetarian with the rice and the 2 vegetable dishes. So, yep, now the meat eater and the vegetarian can enjoy the meal together. Cool. Thanks for watching EducateTube.com.